Hello and welcome back to another episode of the CQ the Watch Guy podcast with me, CQ the Watch Guy. Hope you're having an amazing day today. I know I am. It's a beautiful Saturday here at David SW Miami. The sun is shining, the breeze is blowing. Excited for an amazing day. I'm about to wrap up. We have a great event at our art gallery in Wynwood. So about to pack up some watches, gonna have some fun. Yeah, make sure, again, if you're ever in the area, come on by. We'd love to talk watches and have some fun. Weekends are a great time to stop into. Always cool things going on with the gang. So what's going on this week? Geneva Watch Week is in full swing. A lot of crazy things going on. This is always a very important week to pay attention to if you're a watch collector. It's kind of the tail end of the craziness of watches and wonders and all the new watches that are coming out. There's still new releases from a bunch of the different brands that are coming out that you're paying attention to. But in terms of what's going on in the secondary market and just the overall temperature of the watch world, Geneva Auction Week to me is very important, right? This is when all the big auction houses have very major auctions, and a lot of big collectors are in Geneva at the same time. So you have important auctions. You have Only Watch, which was postponed from last year into this year. You had the important auction for Michael Schumacher and his some of his important pieces, including the one-of-one Vagabond Dodge 1, one-of-one Royal Oak Chronograph, a ruthenium set, which people don't talk about, but he had a ruthenium F. Journe set, which is owned by Mr. Schumacher, was in that auction as well, which I think did pretty well. So let's just get straight to the controversy, right? So all these great auctions are going on. Philips is having their auction, had their auction as well. Sotheby's too. So you have all these auctions going on. It starts off with Only Watch, right? Only Watch is it's gonna set the tone for the whole week. And the Only Watch auction. Only Watch is a charity, and auction is done through Christie's, right? I think it's been their partner from the beginning. So the night before the auction, or maybe the day before the auction, depending on which time zone you're in, Christie's gets hacked. So their whole online platform gets hacked, and I'm driving into work. The auction, I'm trying to log in to you can view the auctions, and I invite you. If you've never witnessed auction, it's so fun, especially these big important auctions for Geneva Auction Week. You see some really interesting people in the room, and the camera people do a good job of kind of panning around. You see just important people bidding and just interesting characters in the room talking to each other. And of course, you're seeing very important pieces get auctioned off. So I noticed right away, couldn't log into the website. You couldn't see nothing. You couldn't see results. You couldn't see what's coming up, anything like that. Went on Instagram. I saw that a few people who were in the room, you could live stream. So I knew the auction was going on, but couldn't figure out what's going on. So I saw things were getting hammered. So I saw the auction was going on. So I thought maybe something wrong with my phone or my internet connection or whatever. I get to work, same thing. So it comes out that Christie's was hacked. Their whole online platform was hacked. And the show has to go on, right? You have all these people there. So Only Watch auction continued. And, this is an interesting situation, right? Because a big part of these auctions are that they're global, especially important auctions like these. You spend, almost a year sometimes, right? In the case of Only Watch, more than a year because it got postponed. They're parading these pieces around the globe, literally, in the different Christie's showrooms, showing the different pieces to different collectors. You're having these different events globally, so people can see the pieces, they can come in, they can talk about the pieces. You're spreading that word, so potential bidders can, think about if they want to bid on something. Now, a lot of people will see this as a great event and they will take the trip to Geneva, right? But not everybody's going to take the trip to Geneva. Forget the expense and cost and all that. It's just the logistics, right? It's just getting to Geneva during this time. If you're in the US, this is graduation week, so a lot of graduations and things are going on as well. So depending, if you have kids or what you're doing, this is just not an ideal time to leave, and your schedule might not be opened up. So you really prefer to be at home or at work, in front of your laptop, bidding, right? That might be your preferred space. Maybe you don't want people to see you waving the paddle. Maybe you don't want to send a conduit. Maybe you don't want to call in. Maybe you just like being in front of your laptop and bidding. I vividly remember, I believe 2 years ago, when there's another big F. Fusion auction, ruthenium set was being sold, and I believe the Reserve de Marche was sold to somebody from the British Virgin Islands, from the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I thought that was so interesting that somebody from the British Virgin Islands paid a very, I think he broke the record or a very high price for that RDM. And, so that's, again, somebody who's in the Virgin Islands, not in Geneva, bidding online. I was able to help that watch achieve a really good price. Good for the auction house, good for the person who's selling, good for the person who got the piece he wanted. So it was like a win-win-win situation. Anyways, so because of this, you get a mixed bag of results in the auction, right? I'm not going to get into everything today because the site's still down and the full list of results are not there. So there's still like a mixed match of exactly what hammered and the premiums of everything. But just to say, it's interesting things going on there. Overall, I think the auction was still a success. And let's just get into the one that really stole the show. And that was 60% of the funds raised. And it is the Patek Philippe 6301 Grand Sonnerie in stainless steel, an amazing piece. We already knew that this was going to be the one that was going to do very well. Sold for over 17 million US dollars, or one of one, of course, because it's only watch. Just a gorgeous spin repeater, and something that was announced for quite a while, of course, but just an amazing piece and just a testament to us what Patek Philippe does. I'm really glad they made a wristwatch again. The last only watch was a table clock, and I'm really glad they made a beautiful wristwatch and a mini repeater as well, because that's something that the house is really well known for, and it's just a really amazing piece. And Zack Attack, if you know from Instagram, a big Patek collector, so it went to somebody, somebody who's in the room who's gonna go big, and there was a lot of rumors about another big collector who won the Grand Chime piece not being in that room. So they're saying, it might have even went higher, right? If the online bidding was open and things like that. So very, very interesting results there. Next week, when hopefully the whole catalog is online and we can really go through the results, I'll break down a few more pieces and a little bit more of my thoughts. Overall, just to pin the button in my quick auction thoughts there, I think it was a good auction. I think there definitely were some independents that would have went higher if the online bidding was allowed or was up and running. There are a few, the Regepi piece did well. There are a few indies that have done really, really strong. There are a few indies that really didn't hit nowhere near where they thought. Another good reason to just bid, right? If sometimes you look at auctions and you're like, oh, I just want to bid at a piece, and the starting bid is around something you can afford, but you think it's going to go crazy. Sometimes just bid because for whatever reason, other people might not be able to bid, and you might end up with some steals because there were some great values to be had in that auction. I think that the Moser and MB&F mini repeater went under 400,000, which I think, for what it is, that definitely was a piece that probably could have touched to 500,000 to 600,000 range. Either way, I think we saw independents got a lot of love. The F. Fusion did very well for over $2 million as well. But it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if the playing field was very, very, even, and everybody could have jumped in and bid. But overall, it's good to know that people still love independents. I first had my conspiracy hat on a little bit, but I think we can pin the nail in that as well. And it seems like, this was just really like a technical thing. If there was any type of conspiracies, more towards the art that was being sold, in the next week. And that, they have a big art auction week going on where they're selling, close to $1 billion worth of art. And if there's any type of issues going on, it's probably targeted towards that versus the watches, right? It's where we deal with all these crazy watches and numbers are so high. And then you look at art and you're like, oh, well, watches are nothing, right? So it's crazy. But, interesting that Patek just clocked in such a crazy number. But I definitely invite you to check out all the auctions going on. There's so many great, interesting pieces from yesteryear, new vintage pieces that you've never even heard of, and piece uniques that you'll never even see, and they only pop up in auctions. So auction results are always a great thing to peruse, to just get yourself educated on classic watches that you might see pop up on a secondary listing somewhere, that you see in an auction listing, you might see it on a secondary listing at a great value, and you can snipe that, you can pick that up really good, but you'll never know about it if you never saw it in the auction result. Happens all the time. And how, again, a lot of my knowledge is just going through cool auction listings and older auction results, to be honest with you. Anyways, let's dive into our picks of the week. Got some cool ones for you. And let's start it off with one of my personal favorites. Haven't seen one of these in a while. The IWC Pilot's watch with a beautiful blue dial, a Pilot's chrono, reference number IW3881. This is a full set box and papers from May 2021, $59.75. So Pilot's chrono, especially in the blue dial, to me, one of the most versatile watches you could have, especially if you enjoy a chronograph. It just looks good. It looks good. It's a little bit sporty, but it has just a dash of vintageness to it, if that makes sense, with the central numbers, because it has that pilot look. So it tells a little story, has a little bit of a character on it. I've sold tons of these. I've sold in the black dial version, I've sold the Saint Exupery, which has kind of a chocolate dial, but the blue dial just has a really youthfulness, a fun to it. Love it on the black shop. I'd put this on a blue suede. I had to put it even on like a red shop. I've had a lot of fun with these. Price, these have stayed so stable forever. I feel like I've always sold them around this price point. And that's one of the great things about just good watches. Good watches will always find their way to stay at steady prices. So it's one of those watches where you don't have to think too hard about it. If it looks good to you, if you put it on and it feels good, buy a Pilot's chrono. You can always trade around it, trade out of it, trade into it. It's always going to be around the same value, in my opinion. I've been selling this for quite a while. I've never seen a big jump or big dip unless it's a very, very specific limited edition. And they've always looked good. This one is the 41 millimeter as well. And just a great looking watch. And of course, if you're any type of aviation enthusiast, this just knocks on your door. But definitely check out Pilot's chrono with a beautiful blue dial in the 41 millimeter. Next up, we have a Yachtmaster II. I gave a light little eulogy to the Yachtmaster II when we found out they were discontinued, but they're still one of my favorites in the Yachtmaster lineup. I think they're a little bit misunderstood because a lot of people aren't using the regatta timer, so they don't know what's going on. But if you're like me and you enjoy a bigger watch, this is a beautiful 44 millimeter monster. Beautiful little monster. Stainless steel in this variation with a beautiful blue ceramic dial. This is a full set, July 2018. You got the Mercedes hands on this one, which I like. Gives it just, reminds you of the OG Yachtmasters as well. And I like the two-tone, but something about the stainless steel I feel will live with me in my collection a little bit longer, if that makes sense. I just like the clean stainless steel look with that blue bezel on top. It just does it for me. And I think at $18,975, it gives you a great bang for your buck. I think these will stay very solid on the market. Again, I don't see any volatility in the Yachtmaster II market at all. I think it's one of those watches where you love it, you wear it, you keep it, maybe you trade it out eventually, but it's not something that's a big mover in or out on your collection. And again, it's more of a size thing. If you put it on and it feels good, I think you wear this watch a lot. And I think it does a lot of things for you. And the regatta timer function is a fun function. If you play around with it, you learn how to use it. You'll find yourself using it for a lot of different cool things around the house, and you'll enjoy this piece. So 116680 Yachtmaster II in stainless steel. Give this one a try, and you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised, definitely. All right, last but not least, let's do something a little bit dressy. A Glashutte original Senator chronometer in 18K rose gold. I'm just a big Glashutte fan. And when I saw we just got this piece in, full set June 2022, and in-house movement. It's a chronometer, so you're getting excellent timekeeping from this piece. clean, classy watch. This is just a clean, classic piece. Lots of character in this watch. It looks beautiful on the brown strap. I'd probably spice it up a little bit and maybe do a lighter brown, maybe even a deep navy, just to give it a little bit more contrast. I'm a big fan of watches with this kind of it is a chronometer styling, right? So it reminds you a little bit of a marine chronometer. I love the power reserve being up top as well. I like how they do their dates. Again, I'm a big Glashutte fan because you get an in-house movement watches, well-made watches, low production watches. The value you get for what's under the hood is still hard to find out there. 16875 Sol Gold watch, in-house movement. This one is a manual wind, but I don't mind because that movement is outstanding. And you flip it over and you look at it, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. And this one is a nice size on it too, 42 millimeters, and then 16875. Just such a great value. Such a great value and a great piece to put on the wrist as well. And that's it for me today, guys. I want to thank you so, so much for tuning in. And remember, you can see all these great pieces and many, many more. Check out davidsw.com. Make sure you hit the new arrivals tab. My name is CQ the Watch Guy. And remember, buy what you love.